Hey guys, this is a major close up to me. I don't normally like the videos to be this close up to me, but yeah, I'm kind of worried about where everything's going. I wanted to tell you about some things that happened recently. One of the main things that happened was that my friend slash roommate got stopped by police and they told him that he um, that they were concerned about him and that I don't know exactly what happened, but they ended up detaining him. And I didn't ask him, what happened because it's like, it's his business. I don't like to ask people, hey, what happened? I just, I'll wait to see if they tell me. So all I was able to get, well, that was offered to me in terms of information from my friend was that the police detained him and um, other cops showed up and some of them left. And so I guess some of them thought he was okay. But in the end, that they ended up detaining him and taking him to Laurel Ridge, which is a mental hospital here in the city. I don't know if it's nationwide or not, but I was like, what the fuck, because my friend is not Laurel Ridge material. And I don't mean to joke I don't mean to joke about it, but it's kind of funny. So yeah, he's like totally not Laurel Ridge material. And now that he's out, he's like, I'm kind of embarrassed to tell everybody what happened. I'm like, don't be embarrassed, I wouldn't be embarrassed. I'd rather much more tell the truth than feel shame, than lie so that I don't feel shame, and that's just my characteristic, that's just the way I was brought up, so I could tell a white lie, I could be like, yeah, I was at the hospital. I don't have to say what hospital it was. And, just kind of be vague about it. I really don't like to talk about it because, it just brings back bad memories, but everything's fine. I'm doing good. And that's it, right? And usually people don't pry much thereafter. But if people do pry much thereafter, then I would be like, yeah, like I said, I don't want to talk about it. But when I'm ready to talk about it, I'll let you know, But, anyways, yeah, I was like, of all people, why would they put him, you know, detain him to go to Laurel Ridge? What the hell? What's going on out there? I was thinking maybe they're doing it for the numbers. Maybe Laurel Ridge is like low on customers. And they're like, hey, tell the cops to push to bringing people over because they make money off of it. They make mad money off of it. And so, my mind is always like, okay, what's that conspiracy theory there? Because, if there's something there, there's never, smoke without fire or fire without smoke. I don't know what the hell it's called. At my 50 years old, I'm like, I don't know what the hell the adage is, but yeah. And I don't believe in all conspiracy theories, just so that you know about it. But was really concerned about him. So he ended up just staying like 3 or 4 days. And then I guess they saw, well, I guess they had enough to charge, those 3 or 4 days and nights to make their quota. Or they really just saw that, he was like no threat, This is one of the sanest ones. So he said that while he was there, that there's some really batshit crazy people in there. And I said, yeah, I don't doubt it. That's why I was like, why are they taking you? You're definitely not batshit crazy like that. I was like, did they give you good meals? Do they have good food? Because if I end up there one day, I think I'm more crazy than he is. My crazy level. We all have a certain level of crazy. My level of crazy is a little bit more than his, so I was surprised. But, I always try to stay away from the law because there's hardly ever any winning with them. So, Yeah, I've never been in the crosshairs of the law, thank the Lord. Maybe if it was a man, if I was a man, I would have probably, been more rebellious, or but all the fucking estrogen that I have, I'm telling you, I could have been a man. But no. So he's out. They charged him for those nights that he was in there. He lost time from work. His car was towed. He had to pay all that money for those days his car was in the tow because he doesn't have family here. And I didn't know he was there. So, and even if I knew, I really wouldn't have the money because things are so tight right now. I wouldn't have the money to go get him out, or go get his car out of the pound. So, it just sucks all the way around. Just be careful because I wouldn't be surprised if we saw an uptick in people who are being detained by cops, or people who are being detained by law enforcement and sent to places like the loony bin, like Laurel Ridge in the future, if it was so easily done to him. So make sure you're good. You're not doing anything bad.